Hello again and welcome back. This time chapter 7. So we're going to take everything we've done up to this point, the law, ethics, and really now tie it into corporate network security, right? So did you know, for example, where this integration comes together is now that there's free available software that gives any nearby computer the ability to break into accounts of people that are accessing websites through password-free wireless networks, right? And the point is, malicious software can enter computers in a variety of ways. So here's our quick introduction overview, what we're going to cover in this chapter. So as an introduction, right, we've been talking about since chapter 1, since week 1, computers are getting faster, less expensive, and is the technology changing us, or are we driving the technology, right? Still trying to figure that one out. So let's see what our lecture this week has to say. First, we'll start with hacking, right? So a computer hacker is a computer expert who uses their technical knowledge to achieve a goal or overcome a certain obstacle within this computerized system. The term hacker can refer to any skilled computer programmer. In fact, that's how it started out, really. It has become associated in popular culture with a security hacker. So we went from hacker to security hacker. And this is someone who utilizes their technical know-how of bugs and other vulnerabilities and creates exploits. They exploit them to break into computer systems, access data which otherwise would be unavailable to them, which is illegal. Law enforcement agencies sometimes use hacking themselves, though, in order to collect evidence on criminals and other malicious actors. And now this could all include using anonymity tools, right, such as a virtual private network or even the dark web, to mask our online identities, posing as criminals themselves, the law enforcement. Interesting. And so hacking and cyber attacks have been used also even by state actors and other nations, as a means of warfare. So let's take a little deeper look at it. So in its original meaning, as I said, the hacker was an explorer, a risk taker, someone who was trying to make a system do something that it had never done before. So to them, a hacker is really a hacker was a newly constructed piece of equipment that not only served a useful purpose, but also demonstrated its creator's technical velocity, right? It was great. It was interesting. It was exciting. And calling someone a hacker was really a sign of respect. So hacker came to mean a person who delights in having an intimate understanding of the internal workings of a system. But as I mentioned today, hackers are people, and we call them really security hackers to differentiate the two, are people who gain unauthorized access to computers and computer networks. Typically, you need a logon name and a username and a password to access computer systems. But good hackers are adept at guessing. This is where we're at now. And they do it because of the value. There's value, either personal value or monetary value, social value, political value, etc. So we want to consider the value which would relate to some of these ethical theories we've been discussing. Now, obtaining login and passwords, I can get it in lots of different ways. I can eavesdrop, which is really just sitting there as a computer security hacker, and I'm watching packets go through, and I'm eavesdropping. I'm just monitoring, right? I could do dumpster diving, so you might throw away a password or username or other codes to your passwords in the trash. I'm going to go out and dive through the dumpster. There's good information in there. I recommend treading. There's social engineering, which is using the phone or email or even in-person contact to get valuable information that you can create these. And then, of course, some formal hacker tools would be a brute force attack, which uses a mathematical approach to figuring out your password. And the protection that they get against that is when we do account lockout. We do it to stop brute force attack because they will try it very quickly. And that's why after 3 lockouts, normally you have to call the help desk. A dictionary attack just uses the dictionary to try and figure out your password. And a variation of that would be called a hybrid attack, which starts with a dictionary attack, but actually adds numbers to the end. And to defeat that, we are always looking at complex passwords, or even pass phrases are a great way to go. So there are plenty of passwords, do's and don'ts. They are listed on this slide. You can refer to page 323 in the literature. But just a quick review. Include numbers as well as upper and lowercase letters. That will stop like that hybrid attack. Don't rely on substituting numbers for letters, right? These programs are smarter than that. Password cracking programs know these tricks, right? And so we don't want to even reuse passwords. And that's why you have a minimum password and a password history stored, right? And then we sometimes what we can do is give ridiculous answers to security questions, because somebody through dumpster diving might find out where we were born or where we went to high school. But if we make up the answer, that's very hard to replicate. We always want to enable 2-factor authentication, even on your phone. If that's an option, enable that, okay? That gives you extra protection. I mentioned account lockout for brute force attacks. And use different passwords for your financial sites. And don't use the same password for all your sites, right? Make them different for your financials, my advice. Now, Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. So under the U.S. law, the maximum penalty for hackers, they can be quite severe. And so Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, it criminalizes a wide variety of hacker-related activities, right? Including transmitting code, such as a virus or worm, wrong, accessing without authorization, even if you don't examine files, even if you don't change anything, even if you don't copy things, accessing without authorization is illegal. Transmitting classified government information is illegal. Trafficking in computer passwords, a lot of times we get them off, not we, a hacker or a bad actor gets them off of the dark web. Computer fraud is a crime. Computer extortion, up to 20 years in prison and $250,000 fine is quite possible. So another federal statute related to computer hacking we talked about was the Electronic Communications Privacy Act. Now this law makes it illegal, as you recall, to intercept telephone conversations, email, or other data transmissions. And the use of the internet to commit fraud can be prosecuted under the Wire Fraud Act or the National Stolen Property Act, most of those of which we've already discussed in this class. So sidejacking is another hacker approach. Many break-ins are orchestrated by organized groups with a high degree of experience and expertise. So they might use sidejacking, for example. This is sidejacking is the hijacking of an open web session. So my computer made a connection with an application server, say Walmart, for example, and that server is allowed to reach into my computer, get a text file called my cookie, right? It's my user cookie, and that way it knows my preferences, my passwords, etc. But it's stored on my computer, a cookie is. Well, sidejacking is giving the hacker the same privileges as the user on that website, right? Sidejacking is possible on unencrypted wireless networks because many sites send these cookies in the clear. That's a very important point, right? And so if these cookies are sent in the clear, sidejacking becomes quite possible. So Internet Security complained about this for years, and it took a while to change. Right now, with wireless, you should have WPA2 as your security protocol. And then there's this case study that the book references, right? So in the end, only a small fraction of information transported by the internet is actually encrypted. Everything is sent in the clear using hypertext transport. We call it HTTP. That's the protocol we use. And encrypting everything would actually make the internet communication much slower, right? And so that's why we don't do that. When I first contact a Walmart site and I'm just looking around, that's over HTTP, right? And so the widespread use of Wi-Fi to connect to the internet has exposed a vulnerability caused by these internet packets being sent in the clear, right? Such as a cookie we just talked about. So a Wi-Fi network uses radio signals, and it's easy for devices within range to snoop on that traffic if it's not protected. Okay, so we had the case in the book that referenced Firesheep, which was about this the extension of the Firefox browser, which if made it possible for the ordinary computer user to sidejack web sessions. Okay, sidejack web sessions. A web session is created using TCP IP protocol, layer 4 TCP IP. Okay, so IP, of course, being layer 3. All right, now, so in assessing that, you can read more about that Firesheep in the literature. But because of the release of Firesheep caused great benefits in this negligible harm, according to ACT utilitarianism, we would generally consider it good, right? Virtue ethics would look at Butler's actions in this Firesheep exercise of using Firefox to sidejack. It would look at his actions and statements as characteristics of someone interested in promoting the common good. Kantian analysis now, to begin with, accessing someone else's user account is an invasion of that person's privacy, and therefore it's really wrong. Butler clearly agreed with that perspective because he referred to people who sidejack accounts as evil criminals. But there are many that already know how to sidejack web sessions before Butler even created Firesheep. So with Firesheep, what Firesheep did was make sidejacking so simple that even the ordinary computer user could do it. So from a Kantian perspective, it was wrong for Butler to release Firesheep to the public. There are other ways Butler could have achieved his goal without using other people. Okay, that is, now we'll touch on malware. That's probably a pretty good place to stop. We'll come back with part 2 right after this. Thank you.